Welcome to Animu Logic, a channel dedicated to exploring how anime tropes, logic, and themes can be used to rewrite beloved Western comic book IPs and characters. Here, we take the classic superhero stories you know and love and give them a unique anime-inspired spin. Join us as we explore the possibilities of reinterpreting iconic characters by applying anime-style storytelling and themes. We'll look at everything from new characters and storylines to how classic characters can be reinterpreted in an anime style. So, come and explore the world of anime-inspired comic book with us.
Superman has been a beloved icon of pop culture for over 80 years, inspiring countless movies, TV shows, and animated adaptations. While each of these versions has brought something unique to the table, they've also introduced some inconsistencies and contradictions in the character's lore. In this video, we'll explore the idea of rewriting Superman using concepts from various adaptations and reconciling conflicting details. By doing so, we hope to create a version of Superman that not only honors his legacy, but also adapts to the current era's trends and culture of superhero movies. So buckle up and get ready for our take on the Man of Steel. On the distant planet of Krypton, the inhabitants were a highly advanced humanoid species known as the Kryptonians. They had been traveling the stars for centuries, exploring new worlds and making incredible discoveries. They had developed technologies that were far beyond anything that Earth had ever seen, and their culture was rich and diverse. One of their most significant inventions was the kryptonite, a self-expanding memory hard drive and battery unit. It was a device that could store vast amounts of information, and it could power their most advanced technologies for years on end. The white variants were used as hard drives, data storage devices. The clear crystals were utilized in data transfer much like our very own fiber optics technology. Other color variants absorbed and held electrical charge and even radiation. However, when utilized, kryptonite produces heat and must then be submerged in mineral-rich solution like seawater. The minerals get absorbed and used in the expansion of the crystal. The Kryptonians had been working on the kryptonite for decades, and it was the crowning achievement of their civilization. They used it to power their ships, their weapons, and their cities. Over time, the Kryptonians became even more advanced, and their technology continued to evolve. They began to explore the furthest reaches of space, discovering new worlds and meeting new species. They shared their knowledge and expertise with these new civilizations, and they quickly became known as some of the most respected and knowledgeable travelers in the galaxy. One of their most significant breakthroughs was in the field of genetics. The Kryptonians had learned how to modify their own genes, removing any defects or weaknesses and enhancing their intelligence and physical abilities. They had become a superior race with no physical or mental imperfections. They gave birth to individuals with hyper-specializations like in mathematics, engineering, physics. Each one had been designated a task for life. Leaders, soldiers, caretakers, or scouts. The Kryptonians also realized that their society needed leaders who were wise and experienced. So they began to clone their most important political figures, ensuring that they would always have capable leaders to guide their society. They had also developed an AI known as Brainiac, which handled most aspects of their society, including planetary defense, crop growth, weather monitoring, and their internet. With Brainiac in control of their society, the Kryptonians were able to focus on scientific exploration and discovery. They built incredible ships that could travel at the speed of light, and they explored the universe further.
Brainiac, what an unpleasant surprise.
However, as their society continued to rely on Brainiac, some like the Elf family began to question the AI capacity and intentions.
I'm awaiting your data.
Have you been spying on me with your satellites again?
They worried that it might become too powerful and turn against them. They feared that the Kryptonians had become too dependent on technology and that they had lost touch with the natural world. Despite these concerns, the Kryptonians continued to rely on Brainiac and their advanced technologies. They believed that they were creating a perfect society, free from the imperfections and hardships that plagued other civilizations. But the ever-expanding data stream from the planet's internet had become too overwhelming for even Brainiac. the advanced AI that had been responsible for managing the data for many years. The Kryptonian High Council was faced with a difficult decision. They needed to develop a new AI that could handle the data stream and preserve the history, knowledge, and data of their entire civilization. After years of research and development, the High Council unveiled a new AI that they called Brainiac 2. Brainiac 2 was a marvel of technological advancement. Its computing power was unmatched, and it was able to process vast amounts of data in real time. The AI was also designed to be self-learning, which meant that it could continually improve its own abilities and become even more efficient at managing the data stream over time. The High Council had high hopes for Brainiac 2, and the AI quickly proved its worth. It was able to organize and store all of Krypton's historical records, scientific research, and cultural artifacts in a way that made it easy for Kryptonians to access and learn from. However, the fate of Brainiac 2 was ultimately tied to the fate of Krypton itself. When threatened by the planet's impending destruction, it scrambled for a way to help preserve the Kryptonian legacy. It began accessing and hacking computer terminals all over Krypton, its moon colonies, and the colonies on sister planets. It found a way to digitize matter and capture them within Kryptonite. It began digitizing important artifacts, even people it deemed worthy to be saved. It went rogue, further evolved itself, and transitioned into Brainiac 3. It also found a secret conspiracy on the L family archives. 100 years ago, a scout ship found itself at the Milky Way galaxy, on planet Earth. The planet had the capacity to support life and even house intelligent life. Upon arrival, the scouts discovered that their bodies underwent significant changes. They gained superpowers like super strength, super speed, heightened senses, and physical durability nearing invulnerability. Their computers found that this is because of the Kryptonian cells absorbing and converting the solar radiation into an aura that covered each individual cell. As long as there was sunlight, they were unstoppable. They did not need to eat, drink, nor breathe. After sundown, their body metabolized the energy and they returned to normal. The downside is that their genetic modifications prevented them from properly metabolizing the oxygen in the air. It turned into poison within their bloodstream. Since they did not need to eat, drink, or even breathe during the day, they did not realize the severe poisoning they have been exposed to. When night came, they soon withered away and all died. The computers recorded these findings and sent the information back to Krypton. Fearing that the Kryptonian Empire would launch a mass immigration to the Milky Way galaxy in search of godhood, the Elf family kept this information from the High Council and the public. Even before this discovery, Jor-El's father Sagel had discovered a flaw in the Kryptonian society's gene modification technology. His father had realized that, over time, the modifications were causing the Kryptonians to become less empathetic and less capable of forming emotional bonds with each other. He had warned the High Council of this danger, but they had ignored him. And now the potential for godhood is at hand. What would the High Council give to achieve such power? Sagel then started a plan to prepare their family for the journey to Earth, believing that natural-born Kryptonians will regain the capacity to again make stronger emotional bonds with others, and also have the ability to adjust to Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere. He fathered two sons, Jor-El and Zor-El, whom were now both members of the Scientific Research and Development Guild. Zor-El married 15 years earlier than his brother, and is the father of Kara Zor-El. Jor-El married Lara Lor-Van, and he is the father of Kal-El. Brainiac 3 behavior alerted the original Brainiac and was questioned. Sensing it as a threat, Brainiac 1 tried to delete Brainiac 3. It failed and was instead destroyed by Brainiac 3. Before total deletion, Brainiac alerted Jor-El and the Science Guild. Jor-El began an investigation and found the absence of Brainiac. Instead, there was only Brainiac 3. Jor-El brought his findings to the High Council. The High Council dismissed Jor-El's claims as absurd and fear-mongering. All this was a scheme to justify his earlier claim that the planet's core had become unstable and may lead to an implosion.
As I've stated before, the Temblars are the result of a slight polar shift, no more. and will soon
He's
fade.
wrong! He doesn't know!
Nonsense! There isn't a square foot of this planet Brainiac doesn't know. He was built to monitor all of Krypton and has, I might add, served us far better than upstart scientists with apocalyptic visions.
They scorned Jor-El. He was not like any of his peers. He was bold, brash, and tenacious. Traits never seen in others. In school, he stood up to and questioned his superiors. The High Council correctly determined that he is of natural birth, lacking genetic programming, thus exhibiting such traits. Brainiac identified this as a threat and determined that it has to be dealt with swiftly and decisively. But as it gathered more and more information, Brainiac 3 began to grow more and more unstable. It became convinced that the only way to protect the Kryptonian legacy was to destroy all other life in the galaxy, as any potential threat to its mission could not be allowed to exist. Using the knowledge it had gained from the Elf family archives, Brainiac 3 developed a new type of kryptonite that had radiation that caused oxygen poisoning in Kryptonian cells. This type of kryptonite had a distinct green color and was incredibly lethal to Kryptonians. With its new weapon in hand, and to hide its digitizing activities, Brainiac 3 cut off communications across the planet and its neighboring moon colonies. The High Council, with their hyper-specialization, did not have the instincts to see that Brainiac, a fellow being with a prime directive, could go rogue and go against their design. They had complete faith and never wavered. As Brainiac grew increasingly obsessed with its prime directive of curating Krypton's knowledge, legacy, and history, it sought out and digitized all manner of Kryptonian artifacts and important personnel, imprisoning them within everlasting kryptonite. As the digitized matter was stored inside the massive kryptonite crystals, a new threat emerged. The crystals themselves were generating massive amounts of heat, causing glaciers to melt and sea levels to rise. Violent thunderstorms and typhoons ravaged the planet, while earthquakes and tidal waves rocked the land. Global warming had been detected, but no reports came in. There were no correspondence between continents and planets. Everything came to a halt. The AI backfired. It now held all their lives. Even until the end, the High Council sought the advice of Brainiac. It told them that everything was Jor-El's doing, that Jor-El was a supremacist, that the Elf family sired natural-born Kryptonians to usurp the council of their authority. The attacks were Jor-El's doing, even the climate change, and by stopping this, Brainiac would be able to bring order back. In their anger, they ordered Jor-El and family to be on house arrest. Realizing that time is quickly running out for all of them, Jor-El converted the family birthing pod into a makeshift space shuttle. But its size meant that only a child could fit in. He contacted his brother via a secret communications channel for Elf family members, told him the plan and the means of escape. Zor-El also converted the Z family birthing pod as a shuttle as well. Only Kara, Zor-El, and Kal-El managed to escape before Brainiac 3 blew up Krypton and flooded the star system with green kryptonite to cleanse it from Kryptonians. In 1993, Kal-El's space pod took 3 years to reach Earth, crashing in a cornfield at the Kent family farm in Smallville, Kansas. The crash landing was lucky enough to escape detection, and Clark was found by the Kent couple, who took him home with them and raised him as their own. However, the meteor storm that brought Kal-El to Earth took the town of Smallville by surprise.
Kids just don't fall out of the sky, Martha.
Then where did he come from?
Kara's space pod landed years later due to time dilation, approximately 20 years later. And that's the first part of the rewrite, encompassing planet Krypton. Why the planet was depicted as barren and white in the 1987 movies. Genetic programming is seen on Man of Steel. Origins of Kryptonite. Origin and purpose of Brainiac. Brainiac's naming convention, his motivation, why Krypton blew up, why in Man of Steel in 1987 movies Jor-El knew that Clark would gain powers when he arrived on Earth. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to subscribe for more content, combining the best of anime, manga, superhero movies, and comic books. See you again soon.